Coming up on Mountain News this morning, a candlelight vigil is held in honor of fallen Scott County Deputy Caleb Conley. And a group of Eastern Kentucky first responders hold an event to teach their community how to help during an emergency where someone is injured.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News this morning.
Good morning, I'm Chas Gayhart. It is 6:01 on Friday, May 26th. Let's go over and check in with Brandon. I bet a lot of people are getting ready for their 3-day weekend.
Yep,
and a lot of people are probably out because of school.
Oh, yes.
And so some people may not be up at all, and some may be watching in their pajamas.
This is true. This is true. Usually when school lets out for the summer, about 6:30 is when we start seeing people kind of get up and move and start to get some interaction going. But there you go. So if you're not up and moving just yet, if you're still watching in your pajamas, we welcome you anyway. And hopefully you get your breakfast in you and you'll be good to go today. Let's see what's going on downtown Whitesburg. A touch of fog has moved in there in the last little bit over town. 54 down that way, one of our warmer spots this morning, because we're in the 40s in Irvin, Manchester, Hazard, and Ashland. Everybody else hanging on to those 50s there, at least 50, I would say. Williamsburg will be the next one to fall. Prestonsburg, you're on the cusp there, all at 50 this morning, so we'll see who drops next. Regionally, Indianapolis 49, Columbus 48, 47. In Pittsburgh, we go to the south. Myrtle Beach at 62, Atlanta, Huntsville 63, and Memphis at 67. So again, a range of temperatures out there this morning. What is today's forecast? A mix of sun and clouds. 77 for a daytime high. A stray chance for a passing shower possible near the Kentucky, Virginia, and Tennessee border. Stray is the key word to remember there. But if you're heading out to the Mountain Laurel Festival today in Pineville, maybe keep that umbrella handy for just a little bit. Chas?
Thanks, Brandon. A candlelight vigil was held last night for fallen Scott County Deputy Caleb Conley. He was just 35 years old and leaves behind a wife and 2 young children. He was shot and killed Monday during a traffic stop on I-75. Last night, hundreds gathered in Georgetown to remember him. Grayson Passmore shows us the emotional tribute.
I remember being there for his graduation. I remember just seeing him walk across the stage and thinking, he made it. And then I thought to myself, no, he's just begun.
It was nothing but shared stories of dedication, hard work, and love for the job from those who knew Deputy Caleb Conley best.
Always tell your people that you love them. I never left him without a hug, without him saying that he loved you. And I think that knowing him has made me a better person, and the world would be a better place if there were more people like him.
To those who only wish they could have known him longer.
Everybody that came through there that was from Cynthiana, Caleb knew. And after a while, I finally just looked at him and I said, why in the hell don't you just run for sheriff? I said, you'd win. He just kind of chuckled and he looked at me and he said, you think so? I said, absolutely. He said, I might just do that. There's so many memories that we all have of Caleb, and I wish I could have known him for more than 4 years.
But whether you knew him all his life or only had the opportunity to meet him too late in it, the crowd of hundreds Thursday night can agree.
Caleb was a husband. Caleb was a father. Out of anything else that Caleb did, whether it was the military, or was working for the sheriff's department, whether it was working with Robin, Caleb did everything he did for his wife and kids.
That was Grayson Passmore reporting. Deputy Conley will be laid to rest on June 1st after his funeral at Scott County High School. One nonprofit in Georgetown is doing all it can to support the first responders and the Scott County Sheriff's Office. The American Legion Hall opened its doors for some lunch Thursday afternoon. The hall has served lunches regularly for a while, but to do it at a time like this is as crucial as it's ever been. The difficult loss of an officer tends to cause stress for first responders. Jim Woodrum is the commander of Post 24 and a retired police officer. He says places like American Legion Hall are necessary for first responders.
Someplace they can go sit down, have lunch without having to put their back to the door.
Whether it's to come meet with fellow veterans or first responders or just grab a bite to eat, the message those involved want to send is peace in the middle of a trying time for the first responders community after the death of Deputy Conley. Governor Andy Beshear says he will order flags to be lowered in honor of Deputy Conley ahead of his funeral next week. Yesterday, the governor shared his condolences to Deputy Conley's family.
Deputy Conley is a hero, and all of Kentucky is praying for his family. In the coming days, we'll lower the state flag to honor Deputy Conley. We always do it on the day that they are laid to rest, and his name will be added to our officer memorial next year. We promise to be there for them and for their families today, tomorrow, next week, next month, and in the years and decades to come.
Attorney General Daniel Cameron says he and his wife are also mourning Deputy Conley and that his family is in their prayers. Well, state leaders held a memorial ceremony on Thursday for fallen officers. 9 names were added to the state memorial in Richmond. Among the names, London officers Logan Medlock, who died when his cruiser was hit by a drunk driver, and Travis Hurley, who died of COVID complications, and the 3 officers who died during an ambush in Floyd County, William Petrie, Ralph Frazier, and Jacob Chaffins. Medlock's wife spoke during the ceremony and said this kind of support means everything.
If we didn't have family and if we didn't have God, we could not make it through this.
2 additional names placed on the memorial were Harlan officer Dixon Sasser, who died in 1918, and Jefferson County Deputy Crockett Riddle, who died in 1933. Thursday marked 10 years since the death of another Kentucky police officer. Jason Ellis of Bardstown was ambushed on Bluegrass Parkway in 2013. The case remains unsolved. This year, the Attorney General's office appointed a special prosecutor for the case. Shane Young is also overseeing the disappearance of Crystal Rogers and the death of Tommy Ballard, all from Nelson County. Kentucky State Police troopers and the FBI are also investigating. Thursday was National Stop the Bleed Day, devoted to stressing the importance of controlling bleeds in the event of a serious injury, with a goal to save lives. WYMT's Betty Forbes has more from a program hosted in Pikeville that was meant to help people in our region act quickly and correctly during emergencies.
Just do packing, pressure, and
that is the #1 cause in preventable death and bleeding is stopping the bleed.
Pikeville Medical Center and the Pikeville Fire Department are training for trauma together.
Working together as a team, being hometown hospital, and this is our hometown fire department.
The hospital hosted its training at the department for National Stop the Bleed Day.
We work with the trauma center, so we are an extension of that care out in the field. We take the training that we've learned here today and apply it, and we've found new ways to stop that bleeding.
For a presentation and hands-on exercises, learning from the experience of those with boots on the ground, from the hills to the hospitals.
What care we do give, they already know what we're doing out in the field and having a working knowledge the same as us. So we all on the same page and can save that life a lot more faster.
Showcasing skills and equipment that are invaluable when it comes to bleeding injuries, hoping to prepare the first responders and the public.
We're getting into the summer season. People are going to be outdoors. People are going to be cutting grass. People are going to be hiking. So with this training here, we can also teach it back to the public. And before we can get on scene, they can go in and save that life, and we can add that extra care in there.
Saying it is crucial for the knowledge to flow out.
Education and different techniques and stuff changes, every day.
To make sure the blood doesn't. In Pike County, Buddy Forbes, WYMT Mountain News.
Professionals say there are many ways to learn and kits available for schools and other entities to be better prepared. Well, this weekend is the unofficial start of summer, and the Kentucky Blood Center says it's the start of trauma season. Officials say this is the time of year they see more accidents, and it's also a time when they see less blood donors. Eric Lindsay with the Kentucky Blood Center says its blood supply right now is not the best.
Folks just don't come in. So we're trying to combat that with gift cards, and we'll kind of strategically announce those throughout the summer.
KBC says it would like to have 400 donors a day. In 2022, it saw 275 donors a day, but it says this year those numbers are trending up. We'll be having our annual summer blood drive outside WYMT on Tuesday, June 6th from 3 until 6:30 p.m. A Southern Kentucky man is facing a list of charges following a police chase that went through parts of 2 states. Early Thursday morning, the Kentucky State Police Post in London was contacted by Scott County, Tennessee dispatchers for help with chasing a 2003 blue Harley-Davidson on US 27 when the suspect was about to cross into McCreary County. KSP and the McCreary County Sheriff's Office took over at the state line. The driver of the motorcycle, 32-year-old Daniel Clark of Stearns, ended up crashing and running into tall grass to escape. Police found him a short time later. While arresting him, they found nearly 85 grams of what they believed to be meth on him. He was taken to the Knox County Detention Center on a $50,000 cash bond.
.6:11 here on this Friday morning. We're about to get Chas some food. I heard her stomach growling over there during that last story there. So we're going to get you some breakfast this morning, Chas. Let's take a look at the forecast as we head through the next little bit. Lake Cumberland down in Pulaski County, sponsored by or provided by our friends at Speeda over there this morning. Again, pretty tranquil out there. Not a whole lot of action going on. 54, one of the warmer spots out there in Somerset. 56 in Monticello, but we're seeing 40s. Coldest spot in the region in Irvine at 42, Ashland at 49, Hazard at 46, Manchester at 47, and then Prestonsburg and Williamsburg fighting to see who's going to be next on that list. Today, about 77, mix of sun and clouds for the most part. Stray chances for passing showers or rumbles of thunder near the Kentucky, Virginia, and Tennessee borders a little bit later on this afternoon, but 90% of us stay dry throughout today. This weekend, that's a different story. I'll talk more about that coming up here in just a little bit. Chas?
Thanks, Brandon. And thank you for joining Mountain News this morning. More news is on the way. Coming up, there's a bit of hope this morning that the White House and Republican lawmakers could soon reach a deal to bump up the nation's debt limit. That's on the way next.